Okay, good morning. This is day 76 of little videos to make describing a day or thought in life of a schizophrenic amidst the world acting insane and then telling everybody that I was insane and that I was schizophrenic and diseased. And I do experience schizophrenia as a reality to be experienced. And yeah, but I do have sane thoughts and I will express some of those here as a way to record them, record a day in the life, and to monitor the schizophrenia. Sometimes there's little nuggets in here about time travel and stuff like that, or synchronicity and things of that nature. Okay, so with schizophrenic reality. On day 1745, I have them posted to my threads, Facebook, and Blue Sky on pinned posts or bio sections describing why I choose to call myself schizophrenic, or having 3-minute intro on day 45 for why I make these videos. And on those same pinned posts and bio sections of those social media accounts, I have my medium.com book that I have written and I have posted in chapter forms there called Unveiling the Schizophrenic Tradition, and explains technologies and organizations that may be interested in, or, you know, interested in inflicting schizophrenia. Okay, so I get into little thoughts and ideas here on a daily basis just to document on YouTube for everything. And today I was going to talk about in my book, A Language Older Than Words by Derrick Jensen. I'm reading a book by an anti-civilization activist named Derrick Jensen, and I've read his other book a decade ago or something, or two decades ago. And in this book, he describes bees, and he's describing being like a beekeeper on his like little housing complex or whatever. And he describes being stung by bees, and he used to get so used to the stings of the bees so that they would go away. He couldn't tell where he got stung after about 5 minutes or whatever. And so at first they were like big welts or whatever, but then he got used to like being stung by bees and stuff. So I didn't know that that could happen. I didn't know that you could develop tolerance to bee stings, but I guess it makes sense. Most things you do, your body starts to develop tolerance, and that's kind of like a very interesting aspect of the body that it develops tolerance like that. So yeah, there's probably something too interesting about the way we develop tolerance, like alcohol tolerance or something. Uh, yeah. So and he also said that bees don't like brown hair, and I've always had brown hair, and bees kind of get like they're angry about. I've only been stung by a bee one time, uh, or twice. I got stung by a bee one time as a live bee, rest his soul. And I got stung one time by a bee when I was at my cousin's house. We were running on the pool, and I stepped on a bee, and it did make my foot swell a little bit. So I might be a little bit allergic to bees. It wasn't too bad, but yeah. So, anyways, maybe my brown hair could have something to do with it. And so, yeah. All right. So, Italian citizenship. I'm thinking that maybe I could get Italian citizenship. I got contacted by a group. I think it's called ITAIC or something like that. And they says that it is a great gift to your descendant. So, like, let's say I had kids or something, and I'm probably not going to have kids, but like, if I did have kids, they say it's a great gift to your descendants. And you could get into like the best colleges in Europe for like $5,000 a year. I think they described the college in Milano, like Milano Polytechnic or something, and it was uh, $5,000 a year, and it's a top 50 university in the world. And so, yeah, and okay, and they say they have great doctors. They said the best doctors and the best healthcare system that's free. And so that's something to think about if you want to get Italian citizenship. And of course, you can, if you have Italian citizenship, you can live and work anywhere in the EU, which includes Ireland. And that's kind of, I do see myself as when I go back to those islands over there, I'm like, oh man, I could see myself living here. But you have to think like, I come from sunny California, you're gonna be able to go without the sun, and that I don't know. And so yeah, so I do think about getting Italian citizenship, and I don't know how receptive Italians are of Americans and then half Italian Americans. And so, I know there was like some stuff going on with like African migrants and things like that where the society had like this backlash, kind of like American society had. And so, yeah, I don't know at all. I don't know a lot about Italy's politics and things like that and how they're receptive they are of immigrants. I know that when I went to Ireland, they had an immigration museum and they were like, we are an open island. And that was like the Coca-Cola museum on Ireland was the guy that made the Coca-Cola company or the head of the Coca-Cola company had that museum. And it's called the Epic Museum, I think it is called. And it's a very long, big museum and it's all about how the Irish immigrated all around the country and how people immigrate to Ireland and they are receptive of immigrants and it's all about immigration. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And that's why I think like well maybe Ireland. I also speak English, so but although I'm learning Italian and it seems like almost natural when I learn it and stuff. So yeah. Okay. Uh yeah. All right. I was gonna say something real quick about Scarlett and Ella. Scarlett has a big show today on Scarlett has a big show today for her school show. She's doing a school show, and this is a showcase for the seventh graders in her drama class. And I don't know a whole lot about the play, but she's playing a character named Kathy, I think, who is a photographer, and she has to go and photograph the jocks and stuff like that. And she talks to the audience and stuff. So looking forward to that. And uh, I I don't know a lot about it, so that's all I know. And she's kind of keeps her cards close to her chest, so that she has the big reveal in the shows. So she's been working really hard at it. So unfortunately, she got sick right before it started happening. She's had she's been treated for pneumonia for the last couple days, but she broke her fever yesterday, and she was adamant that she wanted to be part of the show. So yeah, her parents are gonna let her be part of the show. So I'm gonna go support her. And tomorrow we're gonna go see Ella. And yeah, so tomorrow we're gonna see Ella. We've been looking at photos of Ella and stuff like that. So it'll be cool weekend to take in some of what my nieces are up to. And so uh I'll report back after I see them the next 2 days. All right, so okay. Minnesota Power Outage in the 1980s. And my book, War at the Speed of Light, I'm learning about a Minnesota Power Outage at the end of the early 1980s and how EMP attacks can affect the electrical outlets and stuff. And so makes you wonder, like, if you have like EMP attacks and supposedly all these countries around the world have this technology, it affects the electrical lines of it affects electrical lines and stuff. So like when you have like fires that are started electronically by the electric lines, it makes you wonder like could it be EMP charging the wires or messing with the lines? And I don't know a lot about it, but I think maybe it could be. And so I was just learning about that at work. He hasn't gone into fires or anything like that yet, but he did talk about power outages being caused by EMPs and breakages in the lines, because there can be a charge sent, just like your electronics. Like an EMP attack can send an electronic attack on your computer and all that, your car. And I've had my car shorted out a couple times when I was being targeted, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe something is going on. And okay, uh, one time I was actually listening to Anti-Flag, and the car shorted out on right when he said the word fuse, and that was very suspicious. And so I was in San Diego working for Habitat for Humanity, and that was kind of weird. And yeah, so also Trump has basically criminalized Habitat for Humanity or something. I read this the other day. So much stuff comes out, and so I was like, wow. And I actually had my own experience working with them. I don't even know if I can use their name when I talk about it like that, but like very suspicious in activity, like people were maybe infiltrating Habitat for Humanity, or some sort of program was going on with Habitat. So now Trump is, because I talk about it, he's doubling down. So he's playing like the dictator to criminalize it. But it really, Habitat puts a band-aid on the glaring problem of housing rights. We should have rights as people, as human beings in civilization, and we should make a collective effort to get it done. That we all like make housing for. Well, what else do we need as human beings but housing? So, you know, I mean, we need a lot, but housing is first and foremost what we need, right? Okay, so yeah, the Minnesota power outage. All right, so I was gonna talk about real briefly here. Uh, I came across a post online, and you come across these things, these people ask these questions, and you don't know who's doing it. Is it like the FBI? Is it like some sort of counterintelligence program or something, or is it part of the Big Brother stuff? But they were saying like, is reverse racism something that is real? And so I made formulated my thoughts on it, and my thoughts on it were that white power race, white power racism, or structural white racism is the most prevalent form of racism in America. However, I did experience during my time as being a targeted of ideological warfare by the government and by political parties and stuff, that they weaponized race, and I was experienced that where black presidents, judges, minority judges, Latino mayors and stuff, and I did experience being harassed. Probably because, and I think at some degree it was because I was white, and I was critical of those leaders or whatever, or the government that was in control of them. So it was basically, I think it was based in ideological means reason why they came after me. But I do think that they weaponized race, and I know that they used race and they operationalized race to go after me, and it was because I was white that they did that. And so I do think that there was an amount of racism coming from those people. And so when you were talking about like the backlash to the government right now, I do think that there's happens in phases. Like first they do, you know, the woke thing, and then they do the white backlash, and then they do, the government happens in phases. So like Big Brother is operating in phases. So uh, if we don't talk about these things and say like, for instance, I was saying like, now, while I say that white power racism is the most prevalent form of racism, it is possible there is some sort of structural racism when you see minorities come in and they operationalize race for those purposes, and it all muddies the fact that there is uh, ideological war being waged on people, and they use the bad history of race relations in this country for manipulative purposes. And so, if we don't talk about it, it's gonna happen. All right. I had to talk about it, but thank you so much. Goodbye.